Hey, good morning, everybody. Jeff Jacklich here with my good friend and counterpart, Brent Abel, here at goldballhunting.com. That's us.
Partner in crime.
Yes, and there have been a lot of crimes.
Well, I would say they're more misdemeanors at this point, but
That's true.
they could turn into felonies real soon.
That's right. We're not cuffed, and we're still roaming the streets freely. So,
Good.
that's working out good. So today, Brent, you are on the hot seat
Yippee.
in our episode. And before we get to the episode, I want to throw it out there that, if you're watching and listening, that if there's something, you got a question for us, in the let us know comments, shoot a question at us. And then as well, if you'd like to get on a free coaching call with us, let us know too. What's the one thing?
10 minute
coaching.
You got to bring that one thing. You can't be all over the map with, oh boy, this and that.
Right.
You got to, the one thing that you just haven't figured out, and we'll be happy to do a free coaching call with you.
Yeah.
How do they let us know that they want to do that?
Let us know. Email through goldballhunting.com.
Let us know at goldballhunting.com. That's right.
Woohoo!
Jeff, you're good. You're good.
Amazing, right?
Totally.
All right, so with that, let's jump in here, Mr. Abel. And the question I have for you today is, and I think this is something I'm going to preface this a little bit. This is something that happens to us, I think, throughout our career in different times. And so, again, I don't think it's ever a thing that you completely get over. Maybe you do. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to ask the question is, tell me about the times, and I'm sure there's multiples, of when you kind of, once you started winning, once you got over that initial hump, we've talked about that in past episodes, when you kind of felt like you were in the hunt, and then you felt like, you won your first gold ball, and now you were one of the guys to beat. So once you were there in that mental space, without naming names, how did you get over, though, that next stage, though? Because I know there are guys that I've played in my career that I always felt like, boy, they're just another slightly, God, they got something else that I don't have, and that's that internal conversation. So how have you gotten over that hump of feeling like, I don't know, it's kind of a difficult question to form here. I'm not making it really clear, am I? But
I think I know where you're coming from, and I'll start answering it the way I think you're trying to articulate it. And if I have missed the the mark on it, you can absolutely stop me.
And I want to say this too. Don't name names, because we don't want those. If there's current guys, we don't want them knowing that we kind of see them as a slightly different level than we are.
Those guys already know. Those guys already know. It's no big deal. For me, Jeff, I think that's a great question. It gets back to different levels of belief that we experience in our career. And for me, it started off with simply playing someone that I consider to be a really good player. I play him one set in the tournament close, where I felt like he wasn't completely bored. He was actually having to work a little bit, pushing him a little bit. And you could see this sometimes. Maybe the score wasn't close, but there was some frustration coming at him because I just wouldn't simply, cough up, hairball the whole thing to him, right from the get-go. And so for me, it was that playing a guy close, and then it turned into taking a set off a good guy, even though I would lose in three, to where you started beating guys. And these are all kind of different levels of belief. And I think that there's this thing out there where someone says, I'm an expert on the mental game, and no matter where you are right now, whatever skill level you're at, no matter where you are, if you're trying to ascend up and get better, that I've got the magic bullet that will take you from where you are right now to this thing. And it's just, it doesn't happen that way.
Right.
It's really more about experiencing as I just described, making a tough guy play, and then making it close. Maybe it's 3-4. That's pretty close, and you get some belief out of that. Well, you're kind of, you're knocking on the door with this guy. And for me, a lot of that was finally realizing, if I'll just play my game, whatever my current level game is, without thinking, well, I've got to up it. I've got to up it to be able to compete with this guy. And I've done this, and we all do this at every level we're at, because there's always another guy slightly above you. Is you think, well, I got to raise my game up to this guy's game if I want to be competitive. And that's a recipe for playing not out of your mind in a bad way. I don't know.
In a bad way.
In a bad
well,
way.
I think I'll jump in here. I think I'll describe it this way. It's when you step on the court and you want to play good for your opponent, which is just a classic kiss of death. When we have this respect for this guy across the net, we'd like to be respected like he's respected among our peers. And so we're playing this person and we're trying to perform for them. It's like a circus act. And we want them to see us as a contemporary and as we're equals, that we should all belong in the same conversation. And that mental side of it is just, wow, just the acceleration into the drain is just unbelievable when you play.
Yeah, it's a deep dive. And then and the big problem with that too is you don't really learn about your game. You don't really feel the other guy's game. I mean, lack of a better term, when I go out and play, I want to feel the heaviness of the ball, or I want to feel I just want to feel their presence. And yet I don't want to fight against it. I want to actually want to learn something about their game that maybe I didn't know about before. I mean, it's one thing to be able to have some intel, your term intel, about a guy where you go out and you're going to play a guy who's well above you, and someone says, well, if you can get it over to this side of the court, that's his weakness. All right, so that's good. But if you don't have that intel, part of it for me is, rather than think about winning, I want to probe. I want to see what this guy does that's really good, and I want to see what this guy does that's maybe mediocre, that's not great, but he doesn't ever miss, which is greatness. Right. But still, it's not like what's everyone call it? A major weapon. I mean, some kind of crazy term. It sounds like warfare out there. This guy's got a bazooka. Come on, you guys, stop it. Weapon of mass destruction.
Yes. Weapon of mass destruction,
yes. Right? WMDs. So I want to feel the guy's game. I want to feel the guy's game, and I want to learn something, and I'm not expecting to win. Now I'm expecting to win because I've had enough results at the top of my age group to know that if I don't totally freak out and panic and perceive I got to do something stupidly great on this day, which does happen, which happened recently, actually last week at the Wilson. But if I don't do that, I give myself a chance to kind of play my own thing and play my own game. But as I was working up, I was ascending up the skill level ladder. For me, the epiphanies were playing the guy close, making him work, taking a set off him, consistently then beating guys that I should be beating, because we talked about the skill level range. One of the things that I feel pretty good about with my senior career is I rarely lose to guys that I should be beating. That's kind of a weird term, I should be beating. But I mean, someone who's ranked below me or hasn't had the same kind of success. Right. So I'm pretty consistent with that. So my skill level range is pretty predictable. So that's another epiphany, is when you go out there and you realize, look, I kind of know how I'm going to play today. And to me, to get to that next level, you got to trust that your small skill level range is good enough to be able to go out there, be
Right.
competitive, and learn. And you might not win, but you'll get some kind of epiphany from that match, some kind of
Right.
aha moment, which for me has always been my perception of what I think this guy can do to hurt me is not right. I'm
Right.
trying to overcome it too early. So first serve percentage, where all of last year I had a really high first serve percentage because I didn't really play anyone who my mind said, hey man, you got to bring the goods in this first serve or else you're
Right.
screwed.
Where you got to press the edge a little bit,
Yeah,
and like, yeah, you got the serve can't be just a way of starting the point.
can't be right.
It's
So
got to be something a little more. I got to inflict a little more pain right out of the gate.
and that's
Isn't
not
there like I'm going to jump in here on
yeah
another aspect of this too and it's something that like you said, you're trying to feel the guy out. This guy's he's ranked higher than you and blah blah blah, and maybe you've never played him before or you've played him once or something, and I think for me, I try to notice when in the match, if ever, did I ever feel like he was starting to feel my presence, that he was starting to feel, wow, you know what? I think he's actually a little tight right now. And so for me, that's what kind of tells me that, okay, my skill set's good enough here to inflict some pain. Can I stay in the hunt here long enough to get an opportunity or two? Because I've had those matches too where I could see the guy was actually starting to get tight. And now all of a sudden there it is 30 all at 4 all in the second set. That's like, and I think some players may not recognize that right there is a major opportunity. That moment is a huge pressure moment for him. That they're serving at 30 all at 4 all, and maybe this is the first time now you've actually played a really tight game with him, or you've been flirting with it a little bit, but that moment, and now it comes down to, can you actually stay focused and jam that ball up the center of the court, make him touch the ball. You know what I mean? But noticing, the biggest point there is noticing, have I gotten this guy? Have I poked him a little bit? Is he starting to feel my presence on the court a little bit?
yeah. And that's a good point. I think that we do that, and that's one of the levels, one of the epiphany levels in terms of feeling some more belief in your game is where you're forcing the guy to 4 all. It's 30 all. The guy is serving, and too often what we do at that point is you don't trust that your level can actually keep going and actually close
Right.
it out. There's always this thing, well, come on, man, when's the other shoe going to drop here? When are you really going to bring out the good stuff? I know you've just been screwing around, making me feel like I'm kind of close. When's the other shoe going to drop? And for me, what I've done in the past and I've learned is that is I've thought, I got to do something pretty big here because the other shoe's either about to drop or my stuff is just not good enough. Because I think what we do is we remember more in the past about our stuff. And our stuff in the past, in theory, if you're working on the game, wasn't as good as it
Right.
is right now. So it's what you just said. You got to make the guy touch the ball at that point. And I've screwewed that up so many times in singles and doubles in the past where I've just decided I gotta take charge, right? I remember
Right.
this one match I played the 60 hard courts here at Mission Hills. I've told the story before, but maybe not this specific part of it. I was playing David Nash, who was, has always been a great senior player, both singles and doubles. And we'd split sets, and we were in the third. And he's serving at 2-5 in the third. So I'm just up one break. And I'm thinking to myself, my first thought is, man, you know what? I got a break here because I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop when I'm trying to serve it out at 5-3. I know he's just going to go, what are you talking about, break? I'm now serving. So,
Right.
but this other voice started creeping in when I was playing that return game at him serving at 2-5. I kept phony baloneying myself saying, I cannot wait to serve this out at 5-3.
Right.
Oh boy. And I was very, I was like, I wasn't being facetious. I was, trying to make myself believe it. And I kept saying it in a way.
Right.
And the next thing you know, I got so loose, I broke him at like, I don't know what it was, 1540 or something like that. And I just went,
right.
So, yeah, you have to not try to go from zero to hero. It's like, trying to go from 3.5 to 4.0 to 4.5. It's now January 31st. I'm a 3.5. Well, by February 15th, I'll be a 4.0 because I've been buying these golden nugget courses online, and these guys are promising me I can play just like Rafa.
Right.
And then by mid-February, I'll be able to go to a 4.5 by the 1st of March. So it doesn't work that way, guys
Right.
and gals. At least for me, it never worked that way, and I've never seen anyone else do it. And the only way you can do that is to have these small little epiphany, aha moments that build belief. And the only way you can do that is by putting your butt out there in as many tournaments as you possibly can. You can't think this through in terms of how to win. There's there's no mental course that you can sit there and listen or watch and study, and then all of a sudden, my God.
Right.
I've got it.
I've got it.
So
yeah, I think the other side of it too is again with the original question, those players that you kind of feel are just slightly more elite than you are, or the next level that you're trying to accomplish, is being on the court and in those situations enough, right? Working your way in every tournament, working your way in your league matches, where you get the opportunity more than once, and you're getting the opportunity often now to be on the court, to be in their presence, and to be desensitized to it, and that's I had a conversation with one of our students, that we both work with a little bit down at the Wilson. He came down and played, and we videoed his match, and it was like there's a desensitization process. And so for him, we talked at length about it, just saying you need to be out there going to different places to play this stable of guys, get down, play at the local high school with this guy in that environment of distraction and this and that, and don't get upset at the distraction. Just, it's there it is. Okay, get on with your business, and play at different clubs and see just different energy and all that. And then tournaments, as many tournament matches as you can physically possibly do, to kind of desensitize to how big the moment we're making it in our head.
Look, we all want to win, right? When we all want to,
yeah.
and we're all tinkering and trying to get a little bit better as tennis players, whether it's singles and doubles, and you're absolutely right. The whole desensitizing yourself is absolutely huge. As I said before, there's no way to read something or watch something or listen to some kind of coaching on the mental game that's going to flip the switch. You have to actually desensitize yourself to that level. You start to play more at it. You start to get comfortable. And I think the big thing for me has been, as I was ascending up the skill level ladder, was how I did or did not manage my between points time.
Right.
And the more I actively managed what I was doing between points, the more that I just didn't have all the other voices in terms of oh my God, this guy is a I've heard this, right? There's 3.5 gods out there, right? They're walking around with a 6-racket bag, and they've got this and they've got that, and if you're a 3.0 player, you're looking at this guy or this gal just going, oh my God, if I could just be that person, right?
Right.
So it's all relative. It happens at all these different levels.
Happens at every level, yeah.
And so the more you can, I think the answer is really two things. Desensitize yourself by getting out there, playing as many competitive situations where the score gets recorded. It's public.
Yes.
And then
Public,
the second
yes.
thing is you got to figure out how to manage your between points time so that when you play the points, your mind is clear. The slate has been wiped clean.
Right.
And you don't have a lot of competing voices. You don't have a lot of result-oriented voices. You don't have a lot of just expectation voices.
Right.
And for me, when I do that, I give myself the best chance to play. It's not a guarantee that I'm going to beat this guy. Your question was the higher skill level player, but it certainly gives me the best chance to do what we're talking about, which is to feel the game in a way that I'm starting to ascend through that ladder of different epiphanies and aha moments in terms of forcing the guy to play a little bit.
Yeah.
He's just not sending it in, right? I'm making the guy play a little bit.
Right.
Maybe he shows a little frustration.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe the score is 1-5. Maybe you actually take a set off this guy. Maybe then you start beating the guys. We've gone through this already, but beating the guys that you should be beating all the time. You're now consistent. And like you say, from time to time you have a win that gets your name in red on the draw sheet, even though you're number 16.
Hey.
Right? It's still a recognition that you've ascended your way up through that skill level ladder. So,
well, that's good stuff.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, guys, I'm going to try to get off of me and onto you guys, which is if any of this stuff resonates with you, if you think any of this is good stuff, cool, it might help your game, and you want to jump on a short 10-minute coaching call with me and or Jeff, we can do that. It's a free call, but you got to come armed with the reality of what's the number one thing in your game that you just can't figure out, that you're sick and tired of doing the DIY, the do-it-yourself method of trying to figure it out. And let's be honest, and we might not be like, our feedback might not be like your teaching pro, which, by the way, he's got a vested interest in you coming back every week. So not that we're jerks and not that we're offensive and not that we're going to make you feel like crap, but we might drop a truth bomb on you just to let you know that if that's your number one thing, then here's what you got to do. So if you want to do that, it's easy to do. Just go to shoot an email to Goldball Hunting, to let us know at Goldball Hunting.
Right down below.
Down below or wherever it is, you can find
wherever it is, somewhere on there.
Yeah. Jeffrey, I think we've worked through this one. Good question, Dave, by the way.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. And what's the next thing we want everybody to do right now?
We want them to like us. We want them to share us and subscribe and comment down below.
All that stuff would help us out, help us reach more tennis players out there just like you guys, competitive players, whether you're senior tournament players, whether you're league players, want to win more matches, want to ascend up to that next skill level rating label, or whether you're the Wednesday night guys or gals who play with the same group and you just want to be the man, want to be the wool man, right? Every night,
right.
Every time you play. So that's why we're here. That's why Jeff and I are producing goldballhunting.com. Guys, on that, get out there, have a spectacular day. Jeff, we'll do this again tomorrow, man.
Can't wait.